A very warm welcome to this week's episode of My Community. I'm Joshua Hinkson, stepping in for the producer and regular presenter of this series, Sherwood McCaskey. As I stand here in the heart of the Six-Men community, I can't help but imagine the tales this very roadway could share if only it could talk. These streets have witnessed generations of laughter, joy and celebration, especially at Christmas time. They've carried the footsteps of children running to see lights twinkling in the night, neighbors exchanging gifts, and families gathering to share meals and make merry. Today, we are honored to have the Jilts brothers with us as they take us on a journey back in time. Through their memories, we'll rediscover Christmas in Six-Men community, a season not just of festivity but of togetherness, where everyone played a part in creating something truly special. Before we hear from the Jilts brothers, I must pause to extend a heartfelt thanks to Sir David and the wonderful folks at the People's Market for their unwavering support of my community. Your generosity makes it possible for us to share these important stories and keep our communities connected. Thank you, Sir David. Well, let us relive the spirit of Christmas in the Six-Men community through the eyes of the Jilts brothers, a story that promises to warm your heart and light up your evening.
My earliest memories of Six-Men's Christmas are short hair at Colleton, Dr. Gilmore. Dr. Gilmore and a number of other well-meaning persons used to have a particular activity at Christmas. They would bring a Santa Claus through Six-Men's. Apparently this guy would dress up as Santa Claus from back in Spoitstown or wherever, and he would come through Six-Men's in a donkey cart, dress up, and so on. Yeah. Some of the guys from Six-Men's would follow the cart right up to the house, and he lives, I think that's the house there.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
We can see it from here.
Yeah.
They would go up, some of the guys would, and perhaps whatever sweets remained then,
Yeah.
would be thrown out.
Yeah. The guy that used to drive the donkey cart was a guy, I think he was from Bentham's. A guy used to call him Reds. Yeah, he was from Bentham's. I think he had only one of those donkey carts. And they used to dress up the donkey cart. But I remember it took to have these tires, like car tires, because the wheels never made noise. Like the old donkey carts where people would use to sell. Like my great-aunt used to use to sell the grub provisions. She had the wheels that had the iron on it that would keep a lot of noise on the road. But this donkey cart had rubber wheels, so and it had like bells, because I remember hearing like these bells jingling as the donkey cart come through. So it had this nice soft tone,
And there was one particular aspect of that which, on hindsight, at the time as children, you think of these things. And perhaps none of the adults were thinking of it either. But when they came through Six-Men's, Santa Claus would have this bag of sweets, and he would be throwing them out, and children running behind the cart collecting these sweets.
Yeah.
Looking back at it now, I find offense in it, because here is this white Santa Claus throwing sweets on the ground, and a host of young African Barbadian children running to collect these sweets from the ground. It would have been much better if there was a point where he would stop, get off the donkey cart or whatever it was he was on, and hand out the sweets.
It was fun for the children. We didn't look at it that way at the time. It was a lot of fun. You run behind the donkey carts. Because don't remember, these are days when children used to run behind cane trucks and pull out the loose cane to get cane to sell during the crop time. So running behind this donkey cart and collecting these sweets was a lot of fun for the children at the time. You know?
But they used to terrify me because they were afraid of the Santa Claus. You know,
Yeah.
there are two things at Christmas time that used to terrify me actually. It was the Santa Claus, and on the Boxing Day, you had this donkey man with a mask coming out, and sometimes he would push his face through the window.
Yeah.
Asking for something, you know.
But most
and they were terrified.
But most Bajans will remember we used to call them scrubbers.
Yeah.
That they would normally come out on Boxing Day. And these guys with the kettle drum, they took band, you know, and they have this donkey man with the mask on, and they had this thing stuffed, and they were doing this dance and so on. But there were also little rhymes that they would do when they come to your door. So they would come and say things like, if Miss Hines was a cheerful giver, she would give me something to cool my liver, right? And the people used to pack little cake, slices of cake and ham, and give them. Sometimes you give them money. But most of the time, all these guys wanted was a grog, a drink, you know? So these guys would got rum in the house because Christmas time was a time where even people that don't normally drink alcohol, you'll find would take a drink. So there will always be rum in the place, and you will pour their glass, and you pour a shot of rum. And these guys, that was satisfying for them. You know, they like that. Of course, there was some, I would say, some downtimes kind of because, you know, as I said earlier, Christmas time, people that never drank alcohol would find themselves drinking. And I will have to tell you, my first experience of getting drunk was at Christmas. And we saw the bigger guys, men drinking. But we were of age, that legal age, that we could drink alcohol, but still young. And when we drank this thing, let me tell you, and it started to act on you. You vomit. Let me tell you, at the end, the next day you wonder where Christmas Day went. Because all it was, you sit down, eat some ham and cake and some good food, eat some jug, and then drink some good old Bajan rum. And at the end of the day, you just bring up everything. You know, everything just come back out. So it's like, and the day just fly. They just gone like that, you know, just gone. But there were quite a periods as you age, as you got older, when you went to your late teens, into your early 20s and so on, certain things began to change. And then you find that you would take a drink, but you won't get to the point where you're intoxicated. But you would take a good social drink and you would have a good time with the guys, and you would have the eats and so on the same way, you know. And then sometimes you go into family time and you watch some old movies on TV or something like that. Yeah. So, you know, it was different. But that experience of being intoxicated, it was not a good experience. Believe me. And most people in Barbados who would have experienced their first time being in an intoxicated state would have been because of that Christmas thing that caused people to be in that merriment. And alcohol was freely shared from house to house, whether it was wine or, you know, or rum, whiskey, whatever. The other thing is that for most families, Christmas was the one time of the year that families usually ate together. I know for us, my dad would entertain cousins from over in St. Michael area and so on that would come down. We had a cousin, she's now deceased, by the name of Grace Norville, and her two daughters, Wendy and Beverly. And Grace would always bring gifts for Carol and I, and my dad would always got gifts for Wendy and Beverly. So that was one part of one relative that, you know, I could remember clearly, that we always had this gift exchange on. And they would always come down, if not Christmas bank holiday, they would come down, and Daddy and Mommy would prepare, my mother would prepare a lavish meal, you know, and Daddy would have the drinks. But of course, we were not allowed to drink anything alcoholic at the time. But although sometimes Carol and I would sneak out and drink some, you know. And I remember my dad worked at the base for 11 years. He was the person who actually had closed the base. And one year, they always have the parties at the base, at Naval Base, or Naval Facility, so it wasn't a base as such. And he brought home, was it whiskey?
No,
he brought home
Beefeater gin.
Yeah, he brought home a bottle of Beefeater gin. And obviously, my dad was not a strong drinker, but Christmas, as I say, people, you know, enjoy themselves. So he was slightly intoxicated, and he came home and he put down the gin on the table, and Carol and I were sitting there. We were at age now where we were starting to take a little alcohol. And he said to us,
hit it hard.
Hit it hard. Hit it hard. So we interpret that to mean we could drink it. And obviously we were out there to tell the other guys, well guys, we got some drinks to drink. And we kept the Beefeater gin and we, you know, we went through it just on the beach by our house. Next morning my dad got up now all sobered and back to his normal self. But he remembered the Beefeater gin. And when he asked for it, he said, but Daddy, you say hit it hard. You drink it. He said. Of course he wasn't pleased. He wasn't pleased. He said he was so vexed. He said he was so vexed that if he had lashed us, he don't know when he would stop. Right? Because he told us hit it hard. And we did. Right? But that again was one of those amusing times that I remember with my dad at Christmas. Of course he never did it. He never did it again. And as a matter of fact, it was the only time that I saw my dad at that stage of intoxication where he wasn't like falling or anything like this, but he was like very
jovial. More jovial than
usual.
You
know? More jovial than usual. I think it's because he had a good time at the Naval Facility in St. Lucie with the guys down there for Christmas. And he had, you know, and the thing. I had one opportunity to enjoy Christmas down there with those guys as well. And I know it was a very good time, you know, and we were able to share the part of the community in 6 months with some of the guys who were there at the time in terms of our way of celebrating Christmas in Barbados.
But my dad, he used to keep certain drinks at home, although he wasn't, as I said, a hard drinker, that kind of it.
Yeah.
He would keep whiskey, gin, vodka, very little rum, and wine. And we would, when he go work, Frank and I would go in, you know, take it up. And we would mark where the level was. And make sure they put some water.
Bring it back up, yeah.
To bring it back up. Not realizing that when he come to take a shot of it, he gonna realize something happened.
Yeah.
Of course, in the latter days, we were big men in the latter days, and so we would have a drink with him. And his favorite thing was Christian Brothers brandy.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a brother in the States who used to always, whenever he in Barbados, he would supply him with this Christian Brothers brandy.
Yeah. You know. And don't forget, our uncle's wife, Aunt Cynthia, in England. Whenever she comes to Barbados as well, she would bring a bottle of Christian Brothers brandy for Dad. And I remember, as a matter of fact, I remember the last occasion, was the last Christmas, then before he had gotten really ill, and we had a drink of Christian Brothers brandy together.
But Frank mentioned something earlier about the drinking, right? You know, that is something that, looking back, I could remember seeing certain fellas. You had people in 6 Bends like Rat Teeth. Rat Teeth is a character. He got killed on bank holiday. I don't remember which bank holiday it was. On the 6 Bends Bridge. Then there was Pegar, my great uncle. My uncles, Dudley, better known as Oos or Crank Up. The guy.
Don't forget the most famous of all. The most famous of all was the most famous of those characters when it comes to drinking was a man we called Captain Carey.
Yeah, I was just going to mention
Captain
his
Carey.
name.
So tell what Captain Carey is that he would get drunk on Christmas Day. You would see him drunk at least 3 or 4 times. He come out in the morning early, I would meet him by the Judge Yap corner. And because his sister, I think, live over that side. And he would be walking, going across, and he'd be nodding, stumbling. And I was like, Captain Kerry? He said, yeah, bep. You know? And he used to talk about his boxer, Rodriguez. So he always talked about Rodriguez. And he would say something about Rodriguez, and he was gone. I said, well, Kerry got his drinks early. About 11 o'clock, you see the man walking good, fresh on the road again, you know. Go in the shop, come back out again, he drunk again. And he going back stumbling again. That man used to get drunk like 3 or 4 times a day. I don't know how he used to do it. But Christmas Day, especially, I can remember. I remember seeing this man like 3 times that day, and he was drunk, sober. I don't know how the man do it. But he was popular when it comes to that.
But you also had some of these guys who would gather. At that time, they had a lady over by where they're building the hotel now. They had a shop there, and a lady called Vass used to run the shop. And the guys would be in there singing.
Oh, yeah.
The Christmas carols, I think. Flanagan, Dan from the village, and others. The guy that used to work at Gilmore with the thick glasses.
Oh,
Joe.
Yeah.
These guys would gather and they will be drinking. And they'll be singing. And let me tell you something, that man had a good voice.
I think they call him Joe Sweets.
Joe Sweets.
Joe Sweets, yeah. Joe Sweets.
And that man would be there singing, man.
They sing better than in church. They sing better than in church, man. Yeah. And they had a guy, I think this happened around Christmas too. When the same Vashti used to do the put in the sauce. And remember the guys would be around there, they had all on one platter, but then they would have forks. And they had a particular fork that had a short. They actually like the fork, prongs cut off. So one of the ones under that fork. And when the man that get that fork, when he stick the meat, obviously he lift it so it drop off. So the guys had this thing say, don't dip back. Don't dip back. Because when you dip once, it's supposed to break meat and eat it. So if you stick and the meat drop off, don't dip back. So they had this thing where I come out as a boy and hear these guys, when my father passing, they would shout and say, don't dip back. And my old man would reply, a well-qualified man from home. You know what I'm saying? That was the thing that they had. With the fork, with the stick that meat, and you do like this, then it drop off, then your turn gone. So you gotta wait till your turn come again.
A lot of the things about Christmas growing up, when I look back at hindsight, you know, although at the time I had to do them, for instance, you had this whole cleaning thing. You had, we grew up in a house with our great aunt, and coming on, as December, she would start picking them. So you had to clean the chairs, the mahogany chairs. You had a thing called a wagon, which had 3 layers with her, glass wares, earthen wares, or, you know, plates and so on. And then at the bottom, there were these big containers. And you had to be very careful with these things. Everything, clean everything. Sometimes you even be painting the house. You know what I'm saying? And the other thing is that during that time, the sea used to be very rough. And so they would bring these stones, coral stones. And we had to get a bucket or a basin. We go down on the beach, collect these stones, put them on our head, come up, and drop them around the house. Yeah. Because those stones would be made white for months afterwards. And to the front of our house, it had this decoration with these larger rocks around the step. And then inside there, you had these stones.
But I think what we didn't realize at the time was that this was sort of a simulation of snow, because Barbados, we don't have snow. So although we live in the Caribbean, people in the Caribbean still associated, at that time at least, they associated Christmas with snow. So we don't have snow. So I think the idea of these coral stones and scattering them around the house And they turn white after a couple of days. The sun hit them, they dry them out, they turn white. So they have this look. And people used to do it like to simulate snow.
Yeah, but in the other parts of, remember, other parts of Barbados, you had people doing marl.
Right.
We didn't have the marl on the seaside.
Right.
So we used the stones. Right. And this cleaning thing, man, used to get to me. You know, I did not like the smell of varnish. I did not like the smell of varnish. And some of these oil paint, sometimes I had to leave the house because the smell of the oil paint had me difficulty breathing.
Oh yeah, you had to varnish those chairs. Every year those chairs had to get varnished. You know what?
You sandpaper them, smooth them up, you know, and then...
You know what the promises I made myself when I was growing up? that I would never buy chairs that got a varnish. And I can tell you this, since I bought my own chairs, I don't have chairs that got a varnish. No, because it became like a task every year. Yes, you look forward to Christmas, the excitement, the smell of the bacon, oh Lord, and the smell of the ham, right? But then this hard work, you had to be cleaning and varnishing chairs, and oh man, that was something else, man. And people up all night, Christmas Eve night, and the house must be put away by Christmas morning. Sometimes 4 o'clock in the morning they'll be finished.
my mother didn't used to sleep Christmas Eve night. We got away from that in latter days because on Christmas Eve night, a whole group of us from Six Men's, we will go walking. We will walk from Six Men's. We go out, walk all the way up St. Lucie, out by Trent's, come cross Allendale, down Spikestone, and as far up sometimes as Porters. And on mornings we coming back then to Six Men's. So when about 5:30, 6 o'clock, we passing through Queen Street, we would hear the drums, the donkey man. Yeah. And sometimes we would try to find out where it is and go and check it out. You know? Yeah. That was in the latter days, when we were all grown at that time, and I don't think we would have left school as yet, but around that age, around 16, 17 years old or so.
The other thing that was very associated with Christmas time, as you would know, around the Christmas time we get the north swells, which is the high seas coming from the north and affecting the coastal part of Six Mines. So that was the time when the guys would get huddling boards and go huddling, right? For those of you who might not know what huddling is, it's like surfing, but actually laying on the board rather than standing on the board as surfers would do. They lay on the board. And we used to make our own huddling boards. And I remember one incident that took place. I made this huddling board, and I had the grip. So when you come in the sea, I got this part grip, and they come in the sea. But I had nails to it, and I then bent back the nails. And I got this big wave came in one time, and they coming in this wave, and the board is doing like this. And then all of a sudden the handle came out, and the board went down. I tumbled over and over and over onto the sea, till I even scraped my chest on the reef. That was what I don't remember if I had a lesson after that. But we used to have 6 Mines. They had some areas that we had names for. I remember it was Tom Snooch. Tom Snooch was the area where is now Port St. Charles.
Yeah. Right.
And then there was Rainy Shoal. Rainy Shoal is right where, just behind where Bradley's Bar is in 6 Mines. That's Rainy Shoal. Then we had the area there where the boats come in, the open area. We used to call that the Yabba. I think it was like...
It's short for the harbor. Because where the fellas used to bring the boats on Sunday mornings to scrub them, to clean them.
Fishing boats, right.
So everybody called it the harbor, but in Bajan terms, it's the Yabba.
Yabba. Right. So that was the thing. And so Christmas was not a time where you go to the beach and have a nice sea bath. When you go to the beach Christmas morning, you go to the beach to huddle. Because the seas were rough, you get big waves coming in. Well, in those days, they were not as bad as they are now. Because we now seeing the effects of climate change affecting them now. Because now there's no beach now when those seas come. When we get those north swells, there's no more beach. You know, it's just the sea and the road. And if we continue as we are now, we soon won't have the road. We just have the sea. So that's one of the things that we've seen growing up. You don't get a lot of that now because, as I say, the children now don't even know about those things. So it is good that they were here for these things.
Interesting, a very good memory of my earliest Christmases was with our dad. One of the best fathers you could ever think of. Christmas morning, when we open our eyes, there will be wrapped gifts above our heads on the bed. And that happened every Christmas. And it was particularly good because my birthday is in December too. And so I look forward to 2 gifts. And the thing is that on my birthday, he would also get a gift. So it wasn't a case of, because it's my birthday, only I get a gift. My dad would make sure he get a gift also. And on his birthday, I'll get a gift also. But Christmas time, with my dad, that is something that we particularly used to look forward to. And of course then there was the ham and the bread. And our great uncle, Edric Robinson, who lived not very far away from us, his wife used to bake some very nice bread Christmas time too. Other times of the year too, but at Christmas time especially. And you could stay on the road and smell the aroma when she's baking.
Yes.
And you always make sure that Frank and I get some of those sweets from her bread. And she would do guava jelly and these sort of things. But I think whenever she do anything, we would be sure to get some.
I think one thing that I remember about her, but a lot of people now move away from it now because there are not many Barbadians now of the younger generation who can make jug jug. And jug jug was a staple Christmas dish. And she used to do a very good jug jug. And I made sure, I don't know who else that used to like jug jug. I like it. But I used to make sure, she would make sure every Christmas that she leave my jug jug. Yeah, every Christmas I had to get jug jug. Over the years that would have changed. For me now, Christmas morning is black cake and coffee. But black cake and black coffee. But back then it was jug jug. I had to get jug jug. Christmas time, it had to be jug jug. And a lot of Bajans now don't even know it's jug jug, But it's a traditional Bajan dish that is associated with Christmas, just like conkeys are associated with independence now. But before, it used to be associated with Guy Fawkes Day. For what reason, I don't know. But conkeys is another Bajan thing that I adore.
The Jokes brothers have given us a heartfelt reminder of what Christmas truly means. The spirit of love and unity, giving and sharing all came alive in their stories, echoing the values that make this time of year so special for us all. The memories they've shared remind us that Christmas is not just about decorations or presents. It's about the bonds we build, the kindness we extend, and the joy we create together. Thank you for joining us on this journey. May the spirit of Six Men community inspire us all to embrace the true meaning of the season in our very own lives. Until next time, I'm Joshua Hinkson, wishing you love, peace, and togetherness. Good evening, and see you soon on My Community.